which is always my mantra, right? I'm always talking about advanced bookings because I think that's the best way to save them. That's what I call aloha spirit. It's a world championship. It's 32 miles to cross the channel from Molokai to this part of Oahu on the east side. Aloha and welcome to another episode of the Hawaii Vacation Connection. My name is Bruce Fisher. Thanks very much for checking in with us. We have a great podcast for you today. Every Friday we answer podcast listener questions. We'll be doing that. We'll also be going over packages that have been booked in the last 24 to 48 hours. This is our 447th podcast for Friday, March 4th, 2011. Hope you're having a great weekend and a great day. This podcast is brought to you by us. We're the owners of Hawaii Aloha Travel. We're in Hawaii, Hawaii's experts, and you can catch us on the web at www.hawaii-aloha.com. You can also reach us by giving us a call at 1-800-843-8771. There's just tons of ways to get a hold of us. You can follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, and you can also check out our app. It's called Hawaii Aloha. It's available in the iTunes Store, also the Marketplace for the Android, and also the App World if you got a BlackBerry. So check us out. Get involved with us. You know, getting information about Hawaii is an important thing if you're planning a trip here. Understanding these islands is key to having a great trip. So that's what we're all about, giving you that information and then helping you book your trip to Hawaii. So you want to give us a call. We're right here located in the 50th state. So we're in the destination that you're going to and not the one you're coming from. So we can actually be here when you're here. So check us out. You'll be happy you did. Let's go outside right now and take a look at our crater cam. Wow, look at it. Oh my gosh, it is a little cloudy, isn't it? Yes, we've had some rain. A front has been passing through, drenching Hawaii the past 24 hours. But the weather folks are saying this is passing through, and for the island of Oahu at least, we're supposed to be getting clearing skies, and we should have a beautiful weekend ahead. So if you're planning to being here in the next couple days, don't freak out on me. Should be okay. Anyway, we have lots of questions, and I'd love to get these questions. So if you have a question about Hawaii, you need a second opinion, you're wondering what to do, you need restaurant suggestions, just anything at all related to Hawaii vacations, we'd love to answer the question. So just email it to me at bruce@hawaii-aloha.com, or you can just go to our Facebook page or Twitter account and ask the questions there. Anywhere you ask the questions, we're seeing it, and we will respond, and hopefully we'll answer it for you on our Friday show. So let's get right to it. The first question here is from Mary, and she's asking if we can recommend a great luau on Maui. Now, on Maui, we very often recommend the Old Lahaina luau. And the reason for this is that they do an excellent job at presenting a traditional luau. Now, some folks like to see fire, but you won't see fire at this particular luau because it is more of a traditional luau. But if you are interested in seeing fire, there are luau's that are good for that. And we recommend the one at the Hyatt, which is called the Drums of the Pacific. And the food is good there. The food is good at both of these luau's. And really the difference between the luau's is what kind of style of luau it is. A traditional luau is going to have some sort of demonstration that you can participate in before the actual luau. And that's exactly what happens at the Old Lahaina luau. There's lots of traditional things. You can even see them putting the pig into the ground and getting it ready and preparing it for the actual luau. So they're just kind of different in style. Now, a lot of kids really, they want the excitement of the fire and the Tahitian dancers and that sort of thing. So I would highly recommend that if you really want that kind of action. Now, some folks like to have more of a sit-down luau, and if you're considering that, we recommend the feast at Lele, and this is operated by the same folks who produce the Old Lahaina luau, but it's more of a show rather than a luau, and some people call it Aha'aina. So Aha'aina is more of a feast. So that gives you some suggestions, and I think you'll be good if you pick any one of those for your luau experience. Next question comes in from Dave McLean, and he's asking whether or not the local island hopper airlines charge luggage fees like the big carriers do. Very good question. As you know, if you're going to be traveling in between the islands, you're going to have to use the smaller planes. And he's asking whether or not they have the baggage fees, and yes, they do. Both Hawaiian, Mokulele, and Island Air, these are three of the main carriers, they all have a $10 fee for the first bag. They're $25 and $35 depending on the airline for that second bag. And this can become kind of a bugaboo if you're going to be doing a multi-island trip. Now, there are ways around these baggage fees, and you want to check with your credit card company, also check with your agent. We sometimes have some tips or tricks to help you avoid some of those baggage fees. Next question comes in from Mary Gaylor, and she is a app user, and she says she's asking, what is your favorite thing to do when you just want to get away from it all and you, unlike yelling, just want to relax? And she says that she likes secluded beaches. She also likes sandbars. What would we recommend? And, I want to thank Mary for this question because it's really a great question because it reminds me of a favorite hidden sandbar that hardly anybody knows about or even talks about, which is located near where we live here on the east side. As some of you know, we live right out here on the water. And I'm not even sure there's a name for this sandbar, and take a look at it here. Here's a picture of this sandbar that we get to go to, and it's out on the east side of the island. It's just really, I love going here. It's just a beautiful place. But we're actually sworn to a kind of secrecy, so I can't really tell you exactly where this location is, but if you can figure it out here by looking at it, I don't think there's any harm in you trying to get there, except that it is only accessible by boat. And you really have to know how to get there because it can be very shallow in those waters, so you've got to be very careful. But it also reminds me that there are other sandbars. There's the sandbar out at Kaneohe that you can go to on the windward side of the island. That's also enjoyable. But I think Yelling and I are very much like you in that we love to go to beaches and secluded beaches always as well. That's one of our favorite things to do. And on Kauai, our favorite beach is Ke'e'e Beach, and it's spelled K-E-E, and it's on the end of Highway 560. So it's like the main road on Kauai. And a couple of miniseries were filmed there. I think you might remember The Castaways and The Castaway Cowboys or The Thornbirds. That was filmed there. And there's a beautiful lagoon there. It has amazing place that you can snorkel right there. But you got to be careful. There's a couple of places where there's strong current, and I'll be posting some information about this on our website. You can check that out. But for the most part, it's very, very friendly for snorkeling and that sort of thing because it is a protected bay. And you can also see amazing views of the Nepali coast. And the times that Yelling and I have gone there, we've actually seen people, native Hawaiians, doing chants there and doing oles and doing prayers. And it's just a very serene, beautiful place. And I agree with you, just the beaches are great. So check that out if you're on Kauai. And as far as the hidden place, I'm going to have to take the fifth on that. But maybe by the picture you can tell a little bit about where that is. Next question comes from Desiree, and she says she's coming to Oahu March 21st, and she wanted to know if there's a lot of drug heads on Oahu, and she says she's been watching a lot of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Well, that's interesting because when the Dog the Bounty Hunter, he does that reality show, of course. And we get this drug problem question a lot because of his show. But then when you think about it, on the other hand, when Hawaii Five-0 shows some crazy drug bust or some other crazed person, nobody ever takes it seriously because it's fantasy. So, but the real truth is somewhere in between the fantasy and the reality. And that is that we do have a drug problem here. And it's quite serious. Oahu, just like many other cities, have encountered drug issues, especially with ICE, and Hawaii is no exception. However, the pockets of crime and drug-infested areas are very easily avoided by tourists. It's not the kind of thing that is right there in your face, like you might think watching Dog the Bounty Hunter. It's true that Waikiki at night can get a little shady. Some very interesting characters come out at night. It is a major metropolitan city. And I always tell folks who are concerned about that it's really not a big issue until at least after 11 o'clock. And you know what? The cops have really cracked down a lot on that. But to say that it doesn't exist, it wouldn't be true. It does exist, but you won't encounter it if you're the kind of person that's not running around late at night. Next question. And the other thing just to remember is that Oahu remains one of the safest places in all the United States. We have one of the lowest crime rates anywhere. So it's a pretty safe place to be. Another question comes in here from a Facebook friend. His name is Adam Tootin. And he said, is there any good hiking on Oahu? And do you have any suggestions? Wow, that is a good question. And, Oahu is filled with great hiking spots. And for all different levels of hikers, and it really kind of depends on what you want to see, because there's just so many diverse landscapes and different perspectives that you can take in that are so spectacular here. And because I'm not really sure exactly what kind of hiker you are, what I think I'll do is recommend a few easy ones that I think are really great and that anybody who comes to Hawaii, I think, should consider going on. The first one I want to mention is the Moanawili Falls hike. And this is an easy 1-mile hike. The whole thing won't even take you 2 hours. And it's a real great introduction to the kind of Oahu trails you can expect. It recently reopened, and you can see great views of the Luau Mountains. There's a small waterfall, a couple small waterfalls you can see there. There's some cool pools, and it's just a nice, relaxing hike. And anybody can do it, pretty much any kind of hiking level you're at. Now, another one I like to mention is up on the North Shore, and you want to check out the Pu'o'o Makua Heiau. And this is that stands for Hill of Escape, and it's a well-preserved temple. A heiau is a temple for Hawaiians, and it's the largest on Oahu, and it covers over 5.5 acres. And you can go up there, and you can see an amazing view and see what a temple looked like from the ancient Hawaiian perspective. You'll also see the connection that it has between Oahu and Kauai, because there's another heiau that's lined up with it on one of the other islands. And there used to be a lot of communication between the kapunas during ancient Hawaiian history, and a lot of ways that they telecommunicated from up there. So it's a really interesting thing to see and experience. And another pretty easy hike is the Makapu'u Lighthouse hike, which is one of Hawaii's most familiar landmarks, and it has commanding, spectacular views of the windward side. And you can walk up to the lighthouse, that's the landmark there, and there's a paved road, which is very easily traversed, and there's lots of parking there. So it's just a great hike, and it can be a little bit strenuous. I wouldn't say this is like an easy 1, 2, 3 hike, but it's a decent hike, and what's great about it is the paved road, and you can get up and down real easy, and there's great parking, and you get some amazing views there. Even if you don't go there, you can stop off where the lighthouse is, and it's a great lookout. You can look out at Makapu'u, and you can see just the Rabbit Island that we call Rabbit Island from there. So it's a really nice perspective. We have another question here from a Facebook user, and it's from Gina, and she says, any good places to stop if we're going to be headed up to Haleakala from Ka'anapali? Any good places to eat along the way? Well, a great place to eat would be Anthony's in Paia Town. This is a great place for breakfast or lunch, and they have some nice picnic baskets that you can put together and take with you up to Haleakala. And if you do get there early enough for breakfast, you definitely have to try the Eggs Benedict there. It's totally to die for. So Anthony's in Paia Town is definitely the best place to stop along the way as you head up to Haleakala. Well, now's the time in our show where we like to go over packages that have been booked in the last 24 to 48 hours. So if you're planning a trip to Hawaii, this is just a great segment for you. So let's go over what we have here today. First package is for 2 people traveling from Chicago, going to Lihue on the island of Kauai. They're going to be leaving September 1st to September 6th, staying at the Kauai Beach Resort. They have a garden view room with 5th night free. Total package price on that one, $21.11. $21.11, great deal. Congratulations to the Bowersock family. Travis and Allison, we do appreciate your business, and welcome to our Ohana. Next package is for 5 people. This is a great package because this one is for December. And this is actually the first, we've been getting a lot of call for it, but I think this is one of the first, or the first, December booking we've gotten that's going to be for Christmas. So listen to this deal. This is 5 people traveling from Chicago to Honolulu, December 22nd to the 27th. 2 condos, 2 2-bedroom condos. Total package price, $46.93. I mean, really, that is just a fantastic deal. To do it for us, I want to thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, we do this every Tuesday and Friday. For my beautiful wife, Yelling, for all of us here at Hawaii Aloha Travel, we'll say aloha and mahalo.